Hello, fellow Ambazonians. This is the voice of the spokesman, Capo Daniel of the Governing Council. This is a public campaign aimed at forcing the IG to change their policy on community school so that it will respect the right of our people and will preserve our dignity and make sure that the future generation of Ambazonia will be able to defend Ambazonia. Education is the right and an obligation for every responsible Ambazonian organization. I will tell you the reason for this campaign. But before, let me at least show you the current policy of the IG. It is the same policy of IG1, IG2, IG3, IG4, and IG5. And I'm going to show you the consequences of this position of the IGs that are very irresponsibility in our campaign to convince them. This is the current position of the IG. It is the same for all of them. That where there is safety, children should go to school. Where there is fighting, parents are advised to choose the safety of their children first, because they can always get education later. This policy, it be ambiguous and it be deliberate. That means the policy of all the IG them, now say they no get policy. So then talk say the one make pikin and go for school. At the same time, they not one distinguish whether na la Republic school or na Ambazonian school. Then the second time, then talk say me papa them and mommy then they send their pikin for school for place where fighting in no day. And then when fighting they me they not send their pikin them. We know say na time this for war and they will always be fighting fit come up at any moment. Now, forget this type of ambiguity policy like this one. It be very irresponsible and we will show now the consequences of such irresponsible policy them. The soldier them way they affiliate with the IG or they follow the IG or na ARF or one the way they never be under the Agovc. Wait way they happen, I said that they be confused. They attack school them. They refuse to school them be the problem. And I go show now for example, I will take una for the great state of Boyo. When I go see the forces the way then they for inside Boyo, they will be coordinated by Chris Bongam when a strong IG member, a strong IG supporter. Definitely the IG they abandon them. So nobody talks the IG get command and control. But this one a classic example of a IG affiliated force, their behavior towards education as a result of lack of policy them. Now the thing then this way they happen for ground. So make we go for Boyo. This one the images this way they come 2 days ago from forces them for generally a very good forces them where they make a bad mistake. So this one now the IG, I will call an IG forces even though they don't get command and control over them for more extent. Now then this they don't catch picking the way they don't go for school and at gunpoint and more listen for which the commander he go talk.
September this they go now don't picking this way they don't start school. So don't talk say school no go till 4th October. So they want and they so I let God go know which way it will happen for them. So they go live. Amba oye. Shake no. Declare. Generate your life. No school till 4th October. When I saw the commanders with the general of Ground Zero don't decide.
So you see soldier them they imitate because of lack of clear-cut policy them from the IG and the various IG factions them. It then leads to a lot of excesses them. It bring bad reputation. This does not represent our culture and the way our people want. We want a sensible policy, a sensible way of prosecuting this struggle that will not project a bad image to our population and to the entire community that will give the wrong perception that we are just against school. We know that obviously the intention of these people is that they don't actually want school. It's not that the soldiers are making this mistake. We will not blame them, but we will blame those who are supposed to be responsible, and because of political reasons they are hiding. Ma take una for Atlantic State as well, me gonna see which way they go on.
No.
But before I talk anything, so me man, no make mistake. If these people then be the breach a law will be justified. Man for no say if you use corporal punishment, but this is just nonsense. When you use weapon or you use punishment against civilians the way they do the right thing, or for you for try to do the wrong thing, and then you instead punish our people them. Like Honorable Weber we talk, when injustice becomes law, resistance will become the duty of our citizens them. So make them know. Back to education. A whole policy for the IG say when there is war or violence, school should not go. They give the impression for soldiers and say school not even supposed to go in the first place. It be misleading, it be wrong, it not be sustainable. Community school not the way. We know say the IG know the right thing, but because of ego, then just feel say because now the governing council it don't take lead, they no one for support them. I go play a video of Mama Ambazonia, one of our strong activists we did for America, a selfless nurse where it has spent a hard-earned money for support Ambazonian education and especially our refugee them. Me gonna see the expression really represent the truth for the IG. They know the truth, but they shame for support them simply because na the Agovc is the champion them and now we would do them for ground. Would want appeal for the IG, say me then do the right thing. Come out for support community school and for change their policy for accept the principle the world and bring them concerning education. All Ambazonian activists and other factions then must accept the fact and put Ambazonian first, put our flag first and put partisanship away. The right thing is to adopt the ADF, the governing council position, to authorize community schools to open in accordance with our guidelines, as we have done so to more than, right now as we speak, more than 280 schools have been given authorization by our community, by the governing council to open their doors. This is the right way to go. No school uniform, no Cameroon national anthem, no Cameroon history book, while we push our curriculum and come up with more sustainable way. We start with baby step, but we are moving towards that direction. So we call on the IG, the Consortium, and all Ambazonian activists for adopt the policy of education for the governing council as a policy and avoid our soldier then may they not begin fall prey for scammers their hands. Because wait away the AMF, the faceless individual them, where they come based on lies for manipulate soldiers of ground zero, for turn them against our population, for use excessive force, unjustifiable policy them, it get a potential for actually destroy the struggle. It then been a public issue where we need for challenge them publicly for all Ambazonia them for agree. Say our students, they not only get right for go for education, but every group and everybody where they talk on behalf of Ambazonia get the responsibility for push this positive and justifiable policy for education. So I go never make una listen for this exchange. It go show una say indeed the IG care it no be very aware of our activity on the ground, despite the facts we don't show them. And the facts they appreciate them. As una go hear her Mama Ambazonia it go talk. And the right thing for them to do for fall behind the governing council for support this initiative so that our picking them they will get their right for education and the war it will also help with for proof for the war so will be responsible. We are not just fighting blanketly against school, but we are fighting only against colonial educational system from an alien state that is waging a subjugation war against us. It is the right thing to do, and we hope this campaign will help all Ambazonians to endorse community education under Ambazonian authority and under Ambazonian strict guideline, and would appeal for all the schools that would give them permission. Say me them upheld to those principles them and be patriotic for defend those principles them so that this our program it will continue to go smoothly because the land will be more important than any other thing. Any school will breach this law and this strict guideline will be stopped and the teachers they will be held responsible. Now the patriotic duty and the civil duty for any community school teacher for make sure say make Cameroon a foreign flag, a flag where it mean na torture. It represent oppression. It no be hoisted for our school. A school picking and no be used by Cameroon for subjugate we and they go uphold our people their right of self-determination for the complete and end of colonization of Ambazonia. God bless you.
Hear that. So you talk about You passively talked about community schools that you all are planning something. I don't know if you know that the Agovc run, a whole bunch of community schools in on Ground Zero. Do you know that the Agovc run community schools?
I've heard about it.
Okay.
Like the other time when I thought I was the first person to go to my village, to my parents' village or to my village to kind of like support them with school materials and chalks and blackboards. They said, mommy, people have been here. Oh. So I knew you were there. I
Okay.
knew Agovc has been there. So, and I salute
Okay.
you all for all what you're doing for our suffering people. And this is quite close to my heart because this is from my community of origin. I originate from
Yes.
Kum. So, yes.
Yes.
So, and I know much about this. So, I'm so glad you're
Okay.
doing a wonderful job there. I have been in there and I've heard all about what you're doing. And thank you so, so much for holding on to the community school, keeping our children safe and giving them the education. And like I say, Sister Abo, count me in for the next school return. I'm ready to sponsor 10 kids with their school bags for your community
Yes.
schools.
Yes, and we have something coming up. But hey, I mentioned that just to say, you know, um, we can always, collaborate on things like that. We don't necessarily need to, think in what we can always collaborate and share ideas. I am currently I am the chair, the temporal chair of the Agovc Education Board. So, you and I can always talk more about this in the back, and most especially about the community schools and share ideas on things that we can do to support our kids on the ground as well. So I am excited that you brought that up.
You know what? I'm so glad now. I'm sure my brain will be like, we need to talk on this now in another, because there's one thing about humanitarian, there's no need starting something new, whereas an existing thing is ready to embrace maybe more ideas or more to come in. And I know my brains are listening to this and we'll be talking on this. And if you are already running community schools in Ground Zero, why should we go and start something new, whereas we could put our effort together so far as
Right,
it's on the humanitarian lane? Because I'm sorry, with this our liberation quest, I tried to do Ambazonia. When I say I tried to
right.
do Ambazonia, is because for me personally, I don't see any room for politics while our people are suffering. And I
Okay.
keep telling people, if it's about when I go to do things in Nigeria, I don't want to know whether you are from east, west of Ambazonia or what. I So far as you are an Ambazonian, you come under my arms. So at the
Mhm.
moment, as a humanitarian, I'll take it to him or to them, and we're gonna discuss on it. And if it's that we fall on your program that is already running, why not? You might be
Absolutely.
in an area and you need you're coming up with a new building because the kids are just too many for the building you've got, and then we say, oh, we're gonna sponsor that building and just keep giving what we need to give to our people. There's no need duplicating on efforts, because when it comes to humanitarian, it's not who does what, it's how you do it. And humanitarian has got no borders for our suffering people.
Absolutely.
So I'm so
Absolutely.
glad we talked about it, and I'm sure he saw the brain is somewhere taking notes, and I'll be having a discussion with
Okay.
him about it. Yeah.
I go on for leave now with these images for our students. They for Bamenda across Ambazonia, how they don't open community school, how they go back for school. We must be population centric. If you annihilate the population, they put policy the way it be not sensible. You make the population go to talk say this struggle now when I think now. We go to isolate them and we go lose because we fight for the population. You cannot do something for a people without the people, or even punishing the people unrationally, unjustifiable, where it could be counterproductive. When I see how Cameroon in the fight against community school, now clear evidence that for proof for all man way it be the doubt the governing council their policy so would win. So would win and would win fatly. Make all man is support our people them. Make no man be partisan. We put Ambazonian first. We stand up for community school, support the governing council campaign for community school, empower our people. We are the people. We are the voice of the silent majority. Stand behind us for an effective Ambazonian community school, even during wartime. It will bring our struggle be more inclusive, and it will help our people to stand up for their right of self-determination. After all, we are there for them. It is not them for us. Do the right thing, put Ambazonian first, and support the initiative and the policy of the Governing Council for community school in Ambazonia. God bless you all.